Let's talk about skin issues. All these lumps and bumps, rashes and lipomas that you might developed, and you are hoping to clear them up with the carnivore diet, or they maybe show up just as you go on the carnivore diet. Welcome back to my channel. I am Sylvia and I'm a carnivore diet coach. When I went on the carnivore diet, within a couple of weeks I developed a little bump right here on my elbow. That occurred really quickly and it was quite itchy. It was itching me first and I knew something was happening on my elbow, and then I grew a bump on it and I was convinced with my Google search that this was a lipoma. And then I went to a doctor who examined it, took a sonogram and told me this wasn't a lipoma, this was actually a inflamed bursa that just left me with that growth after inflammation was over. Now I was wondering why that happened to me, and the only thing I can think of, it was this bounce of inflammation I was going through, because when I first started doing carnivore diet to reverse rheumatoid arthritis, I couldn't quite get it right. Mostly my cravings were getting the best out of me, so I would do the carnivore diet right for a week and then I would binge eat mostly on fruit, and then I would start over again and did that quite a few times before I stayed consistent. And this is when I got that growth under my skin on my elbow. When speaking with my doctor, he agreed that the inflammatory aspect of my rheumatoid arthritis was probably what caused the inflammation of the bursa. He agreed to operate on it because he said that there was no active inflammation anymore. It was just like almost a scar tissue left. I think I did this to myself because, you know, it was like in a lot of ketosis, out of ketosis, a lot of glucose, too much glucose, then back to ketosis, zero carbs, then lots of fat to get me into ketosis over too, and then I would eat lots of fruit and I would be out of ketosis and had really high insulin, and that went on for a while, so consequently this was the price I paid. Anyway, because the inflammation wasn't active anymore, he operated on me and removed it surgically. But this wasn't the end of the lumps and bumps on my skin. During the same time of, you know, being in ketosis, out of ketosis, doing carnivore diet right and then wrong, I've noticed many lumps and bumps, mostly on my legs and my arms, that were showing up. The first two I noticed, they were on my Achilles tendon. And they were like a typical lipoma. They were size of a raspberry. They also had a similar texture, like you could kind of squeeze them and they would move. And there were some other lumps and bumps that I could feel on my thighs, on my arms. But after I started being consistent with the carnivore diet, it all cleared up. And they were visible and you could feel them when you squeezed them, and they went away within a few weeks. So one of the reasons I made this video is because some of my clients report exactly the same thing. There are rheumatoid arthritis patients. They use carnivore diet to reverse rheumatoid arthritis, but they face some of the same challenges. Mostly their cravings get the best out of them, and so they will binge eat something for a week and they get back to the diet. And then they notice the same pattern. Sometimes it happens right on the elbow, sometimes even on top of the head or here around the jaw, on the legs, on the joints. There are bumps, not too big, the size of a raspberry fruit. And when they go on the carnivore diet and they stay consistent, they go away. Let's talk about skin itching, because this also happens a lot when going on a carnivore diet. I think it has to do with two factors. One, the inflammatory processes, and also detox symptoms when you are transitioning to a carnivore diet. Even though there's not a lot of research about it, it is quite well acknowledged in the carnivore community that there is such a thing as oxalate dumping. And when you are experiencing oxalate dumping, this itchy rash tends to show up. What this means is that your body is getting rid of all the oxalates that it collected over the years. And it happens especially to people that went into carnivore cold turkey, you've never tried, let's say, ketogenic diet before, so if you were eating standard American diet and went cold turkey into carnivore diet, those rashes and skin itching tend to be quite intense. But the good news is within a couple to a few weeks, it resolves on its own once your body detoxes. Many of my clients, especially those with different variations of autoimmunity, experience skin itching when going on the carnivore diet or when coming out of it or just giving into their cravings. And the itching is a bit strange in that it will always appear in the same place. So if your arm gets itchy, it will be itchy in the same spot for weeks, and people will scratch themselves to the point of bleeding. That was also the case with me. When I was itching, it was right above my achy joints. One place in particular was above my right ankle, inside of my leg. I was scratching myself like there was no tomorrow, to the point that I was bleeding, and there were like scars that were left. But then it was the same pattern. When I was doing the carnivore diet right, everything was well. When I broke my carnivore diet commitments and started eating other foods, then the itching would come back. And again, it would resolve when I started doing the carnivore diet right. And finally, let's talk about lipomas, because there is a consensus in the carnivore community that if you stay on the carnivore diet long enough, your lipomas will go away. I had my lipoma. I had the one proper lipoma diagnosed by a doctor right over here on the shoulder blade, and it was growing. And I first noticed this lipoma back in my early 20s. And so over the period of 20 years, I was a vegetarian, I was vegan, I was paleo, I was ketogenic, and then I was on the carnivore diet. So I really don't know which diet contributed to it more, which slowed it down, or maybe it made no difference whatsoever. I was just going to grow this lipoma no matter what I ate. So as far as the lipoma goes, I didn't even attempt to talk to my doctor if I should stay on the carnivore diet longer, would it go away. I was at the stage that he was going to open my elbow to remove that growth, so I just agreed, well, you might as well open up this one here on my shoulder and remove it. And to be honest, the procedure for lipoma was actually easier and faster than the one on my elbow, simply because it was actual fatty tissue that you just have to cut out from the bone and ligaments and then just kind of squeeze it out from a really tiny incision, whereas this one on the elbow required a lot more maneuvering not to injure other tissues because it was part of the actual bursa. So if you are considering carnivore diets to address the many skin issues people deal with, you probably will be successful. Now, to be realistic, there may be some bumps in the road, but the good news is they are temporary. Now, when it comes to the lipomas, it is a bit of a hit or miss. From my experience and experiences of my clients, if this is something recent that you've noticed and not of a big size, then you might be able to reverse it just by going on the carnivore diet. But if you have a lipoma like mine that was growing over the period of the last 20 years, I just didn't want to wait longer. I was on the carnivore diet for the last 4.5 years. I just had it cut out. But the procedure is really quick, painless, and easy. Alright, so this will do it for this week's video. If you would like to be coached by me, the links are in the description box. If you know of somebody deciding to go on a carnivore diet to address skin issues, send this video to them. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!